Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with the American Firearms Association. As you guys know, we love to show you guys real life uses of the Second Amendment in action. And it's good to remind all of us what's going to happen if we ever lose our right to keep and bear arms, because criminals like the two thugs in the screen here beside me and tyrants will be the only people left with firearms if we ever lose our Second Amendment freedoms. As you guys know, AFA fights for your gun rights every day in Congress and state capitals across the country. If you're not involved in that fight, go to joinafa.org and get involved. And also subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Now, today's video comes from Dallas, Texas. We had a lifetime member in Austin sent me this video last week and asked us to break down this self-defense situation. We're going to give this homeowner, I'm going to tell you right now, 3 high marks, 1 negative mark, and a couple general takeaways after we watch this video. So we're going to play through it one time, and then we're going to stop, and we're going to break it down bit by bit. And here's the context. So this homeowner is home inside of his house as this guy knocks on his door. And he tells him, and the audio is almost impossible to hear, he tells him he has maintenance staff there to review the air filter on this homeowner's AC unit. And the homeowner does not believe the guy. He's getting a weird sense. This might be a trap. And he says, no, I'm not home right now. You have to come back sometime later. And from there, all hell breaks loose. Here we go.
No. Yeah, we're taking the air
to
filter.
him, trying to get inside. The guy says no. Notice the guy has a clipboard. He has a pencil. He very much looks like a maintenance staff guy. He's trying his best to impersonate a real employee of the apartment complex. And then he goes to town. But back up here again. Right there in his right hand, you can see he has a handgun. He is definitely armed. His buddy comes up, a lot bigger, a lot stronger. He's hitting really hard. This guy does it again. 4 or 5 more kicks. It happened very quickly. So now I'll first get to the back of the story. I'll back up from there. Nobody was injured in this shooting. The homeowner was not injured. These 2 thugs were not injured in this shooting. The guy on the right in the blue or navy, he was arrested. The guy in red is still at large. They're trying to find him right now in Dallas. And so that's kind of where the thing is currently legally. First things first, this guy gets really high marks for having a really strong door and door frame at his apartment. Maybe it wasn't his decision. Maybe it was the property management. Whatever the case may be, that door took significant impact from 2 very committed criminals and did not yield. So as part of your home defense strategy, make sure that you have security doors, not the cheap garbage you get at a department store. So number 1, he gets high points for having excellent security doors at his place. Number 2, he gets really high marks for having a camera at his front door. These days, given the cost of Ring cameras and all different kinds of cameras, there's no excuse for not having some way to see who was knocking on your front door of your home. Front door, back door, all of it. Today, you can watch that on your phone. You could be in your home. You could be 1,000 miles away. But having that camera gave this homeowner real-time intel on who was at his front door. It allowed him to stay inside his home and talk to them over his app. And that probably saved his life. So he gets really big points from us for having that door camera in place. The third thing is more of a general kind of a conversation I want to ask you guys about. Initially, when I watched this, I thought this guy gets negative points from us for firing through the front door of his home. Because obviously in an apartment complex, by definition, that shot is very likely to go beyond the target if you miss and hit a neighboring apartment. In this case, every one of the bullets did miss and hit the neighboring apartment. Thankfully, the neighbor was not home and nobody was harmed in this. But my initial reaction was to hit him pretty hard for firing through the front door. But then thinking about it, he had a camera. So he actually knew where the target was standing when he fired. And then I watched a media interview with this guy. And he said, I didn't want to shoot through the front door. It seemed irresponsible to me. He said, but I could see the guy had a gun. And if he got inside my home after breaking my door down, it was going to be so chaotic. I was afraid I could not react fast enough to engage these guys and stop this lethal attack on my family. So for that reason, I shot through the door. So I'm going to leave that in your guys' hands. What do you think? Would you give him a thumbs up or a thumbs down for firing through the door, knowing that he had a camera and knowing that he knew they were armed? That's two different caveats to the story that make it a little bit less clear, at least in my mind. One general takeaway, the guy said he shot all 13 rounds off in his firearm. He went to slide lock. He had no other ammo nearby for the gun, and he was out of ammo. So be aware that these days, especially with bad guys who are wearing body armor, as we saw in Buffalo, New York, and the Tops supermarket shooting a year or two ago, or other cases since then, bad guys are wearing body armor, number one. Bad guys are often these days working in tandem, as these two guys are. So if you've got one magazine, whether it's a 17-round mag, a 15-round mag, God help you, a 10-round magazine in a blue state, realize you might very likely run out of ammo before that lethal attack against you is over. So have enough ammo and have backup ammo immediately available. Again, this guy shot 13 rounds. The bad guy shot 2 rounds through the building at him. Nobody was actually harmed. The really big negative takeaway this guy gets from us is he very stupidly, in my opinion, talked to the media a day or two after this happened. It was a long interview, 7 or 8 minutes long, and they asked him all kinds of questions. Why did you shoot? When did you decide to shoot? What was going through your mind at that time? Let me be very clear on this. I know it's very common these days to get in front of a camera and tell your story, or go on TikTok with your phone and tell your story. But every single word that you say to anybody after a use of force situation, if it's open source, they can play that against you in court. And they could also subpoena your friends and ask them what you told them about your use of force situation. The fastest way to go to prison after an otherwise justifiable use of force situation is to run your mouth and say stupid things that perhaps aren't even accurate when talking to a friend or, God help you, a reporter like the good guy in this story did. So thankfully, he has the whole thing on video. It's pretty obvious to the prosecution who the bad guys were in this case. But without that, and having talked to the press and ran his mouth like that, he could very easily also be facing criminal charges. I'm not saying that's how things should be. I'm saying that's how things are. So after a use of force situation, do not speak to the press. Guys, that's our quick take on this shooting. He gets props for a heavy door. He gets props for a Ring door camera. He gets props for having a gun in the home and ready to go. He gets negative points from us for talking to the press, and it's just kind of a random point that he ran out of ammo. Be very careful about that if you're in this similar situation. That's our take on this. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Guys, as always, subscribe for more content and join the fight for freedom today at joinafa.org.